All right, let's take a little stroll around the farm here. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be looking at how we level the area for our food plot that we started. Today's going to be part 2 of that series. We're going to be using the land plane, and we're going to talk about some differences between a box blade and a land plane and show you guys how simple it could be to level out all that uneven surface you may have in your yard or in your pastures. The simple answer to the title question is no. You can't put in the same kind of food plot we're putting in today with the side-by-side. However, in some upcoming videos, we're going to show you some creative things you can do around the farm, whether you have a sport side-by-side or a utility side-by-side. All right, so today we're going to be using this Mech-Max 72-inch land plane. And if you're familiar with box blades, you'll notice that on these land planes, you do not have the enclosed back side. And mainly what that's used for is moving a lot of material from one location to another. The land plane differs a little bit in that it doesn't trap the material. It typically is going to let that material fall through and just create a nice even surface. Now, of course, we do have to adjust the tilt from time to time because we don't want to dig the blades in too much. So once you figure out the right adjustments and you have it set up pretty good for the application you need, you'll see this thing is a breeze to operate, and it actually can level out some uneven ground fairly quickly. So there's no need for us to use these scarifiers today. So you can see I have them in the up position right now. Although if you had a surface that needed broke up, sometimes like with a gravel driveway, you might want to pull some of that gravel back up to the surface, and you can turn these around and set them at whatever desired height you want them to dig in. Like I said, today we won't be needing those. We're going to go ahead and run the tiller one more time, and we'll get a little bit of footage of that, but we really want to focus on what we're going to be doing with this land plane today and show you how easy it can be to create a nice level surface. Okay, as you can see here, we have finished our second round of tilling. This is the first round of tilling for today, but second overall on the project. And now we have most of that grass, and anything that was rooted in there is definitely churned up. We do still have some ridges and some berms and some kind of uneven sections out through there. So we're going to grab that land plane. I'm probably going to run pretty much every which direction to try to get these hills kind of knocked down a little bit. But we're starting to have a smoother surface overall. So let's go ahead and get that land plane hooked up and we'll get started with that. Wanted to jump in here real quick and let you guys know that currently we're at about 70% viewership that is not subscribed to the channel. Now, even though this is pretty common with most YouTube channels, we'd like to pick those numbers up, and it would go a long ways to help us create even better content for you. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and reach down there now and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. All right, as you can see, we have our land plane hooked up here, and if you haven't used the land plane before, you're really missing out. These things make leveling out these kind of surfaces so much easier than pretty much any other implement I can think of. You'd probably spend all day with a grading blade out here trying to do that on the back of a 3-point, but with this particular implement here, we should have a silky smooth finish by the time we get done. One thing we haven't got to talk much about today is the piece of equipment we're using to run these implements. So this is the LS MT352. This is a hydrostatic cab tractor. We have about 114, maybe 115 hours on this tractor at this point. We've had it for about 3 months, and so far we've had no issues whatsoever. Plenty of power. Pulling the tiller, it doesn't really matter what the surface is like, what the ground conditions are. It's pretty much non-existent, you know, as far as the feel that you have when you're running the tractor. So far we haven't found anything that bogs this tractor down. It's been a great piece of equipment so far, and you know, I would highly recommend it at this point. All right, so we finished up smoothing out the area with our land plane, and now we have hooked the tiller back up onto the tractor. We're going to need to run the tiller across it one more time, and that's primarily due to us having some high areas and some hills. And as that land plane cuts into the ground, it was cutting a little deeper than our tilled area was. So we're going to make one more pass over that, and that should get us ready for our seed bed. All right, well, just about ran out of daylight here today, but that's going to wrap up part 2 of our food plot project here on our farm. It's a little early in the season yet to get that seed down, so you guys stay tuned for part 3 of that. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment. Maybe share some of your experiences doing similar projects. I'm sure other viewers would appreciate it. If you guys didn't catch part 1, you can go ahead and catch that here. And otherwise, we will put another video over here for you guys to watch. Until next time, y'all stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.